Home Studio Start Podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to the Home Studio Start Podcast.
Hey there.
Today, we are doing a deep dive into something that, honestly, can completely change the game for your home recordings.
Absolutely. We're talking about sample libraries.
Exactly. Unleashing the full potential of your home recording with top sample libraries. It sounds grand, but it's true.
It really is.
If you're part of the Home Studio Start community or, just looking to really bump up your sound quality, this is definitely for you.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. Turning your current setup, maybe just a laptop and interface, into this sonic powerhouse, all with software.
It's pretty amazing what's possible now.
Right. So our mission today is to kind of cut through all the options out there, give you a shortcut to understanding these essential tools.
Make it easy, right?
That's the idea. And this whole deep dive, it's inspired by a brilliant article from Rodrigo Marquez over at Home Studio Start.
Oh, yeah. Rodrigo's stuff is always great.
Totally. The article is called Top Sample Libraries for Pro Home Recording. And Rodrigo really nails that home recording made easy slogan with this one.
He really does. And, this topic is just so vital because sample libraries, they're kind of like the secret weapon hiding in plain sight for modern music.
Totally. Secret weapon. I like that.
Yeah. I mean, think about your favorite tracks or even film scores. You hear these amazing sounds, rich textures, killer beats.
And you wonder, how'd they do that?
Exactly. And often the answer starts with an incredible sample library. It can be the spark,
For sure.
So as we dig into Rodrigo's insights, we're basically going to help you answer that big question, which library should I actually get for my music?
Okay, let's do it. Where do we start?
Well, we're going to break it down into 5 key areas, things you really need to think about to level up your productions and find that musical goldmine.
Perfect. Let's jump into the first one then. Variety and quality, right? These seem huge.
Definitely. When you first look at libraries, it's like, wow, so many sounds.
Like a massive musical candy store. You want everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pianos, strings, synths, weird world instruments.
Yeah, the variety is tempting. And having a broad range is good. Like Spitfire Audio's BBC Symphony Orchestra.
Oh, yeah, that one's legendary for orchestral stuff. Lush strings, huge percussion.
Totally cinematic. Or you look at Native Instruments Contact, that thing's like a chameleon.
Right. It hosts so many different libraries. You can go from super traditional sounds to really cutting-edge electronic stuff all in one place.
It gives you that palette, like you said. But here's the thing.
Uh-oh. The but.
Yeah. While having lots of options is cool, the quality of those samples, that's arguably even more critical.
Okay, explain that. Why quality over just having tons of sounds?
Because that's what makes your music sound professional. Polished, It's the difference between sounding kind of demo-ish and sounding like a finished record.
Gotcha. So one amazing piano sound is better than 10 mediocre ones.
Exactly. Think pristine, think detail. Libraries like, say, East West Hollywood Orchestra, they're known for how carefully everything was recorded.
You can hear the detail, the room.
Right. The clarity, the depth. Or on the synth side, Spectrasonics Omnisphere.
Yeah.
Just incredible sound quality, these amazing atmospheric textures.
So the takeaway is, don't just be wowed by the number of sounds.
Listen closely. Always listen to the demo tracks on the developer's website. They're your first clue.
Good tip.
And really think about your specific needs. What genre are you making? What sounds do you actually use most?
Right. Don't buy a massive orchestral library if you only made techno.
Pretty much. Investing in a few really high-quality libraries that fit your style, that's way better than having a huge folder of stuff you barely touch or that doesn't sound quite right.
So be strategic. Choose quality tools that fit your vision.
You got it. Build your core sonic palette carefully.
Okay, that makes sense. Now let's talk about something that hits close to home for, well, almost everyone in a home studio.
The money talk.
Yeah. Affordability and, crucially, licensing.
Yeah.
Because these libraries, man, the prices can be all over the place.
Oh, yeah. From totally free to, well, let's just say expensive.
Seriously.
Yeah.
We're talking potentially thousands of dollars for some of the big ones.
Which is why knowing your budget before you start browsing is like step 0.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Got to set that limit first. But the good news is it's not always all or nothing, right?
Not at all. Lots of companies have tiered pricing. You can maybe get an essentials version first.
Right, like a smaller package to start and then maybe upgrade later if you need the full thing. That's smart.
It is. And you can't ignore the free stuff either. Some of it is genuinely amazing.
Like Spitfire Audio's LaBS series. We got to mention that.
Definitely. High quality sounds, totally free. It's an incredible way to get started or just add some cool textures without spending a dime.
Seriously, check out LBS if you haven't. But okay, beyond the price tag itself, the licensing, you mentioned that.
Yes. This is super, super important, especially if you ever want to, release your music commercially, make money from it.
Right, because free doesn't always mean free to use however you want.
Exactly. That's the trap. You might find a cool loop or sample somewhere cheap or free, use it, and then find out later you don't actually have the rights to use it in a song you're selling.
Nightmare scenario.
Total nightmare. So you need clear licensing. Look for libraries, like from Native Instruments usually, that explicitly state you can use the sounds in your commercial releases.
Read the fine print, basically.
Always. Every single time. It takes a few minutes, but it can save you massive headaches later. Trust me.
Okay, good advice. Any other tips for managing the cost?
Yeah, think about bundles. Sometimes companies package several related libraries together for a better price.
Ah, like getting the whole string section instead of just violins?
Kind of like that. Or subscription models. East West's Composer Cloud is a big one.
Right. Pay monthly, get access to a ton of stuff.
Yeah, it's great for experimenting, lets you try out lots of different libraries without that huge upfront cost for each one.
That makes sense, especially if you're still figuring out your sound.
And finally, keep an eye out for sales. Black Friday, summer sales, holidays. Companies often do big discounts.
Patience pays off. Wait for the sale.
Sometimes, yeah. You can snag amazing deals if you're strategic.
Cool. So, budget set, license checked, maybe found a deal. Now, what about actually using the thing?
The user interface. Ease of use.
Yeah, because you could have the best sounding library ever, but if opening, it feels like trying to decode, I don't know, alien software.
Your creativity just grinds to a halt, really.
Totally. You want to make music, not fight with confusing menus and tiny knobs you can't figure out.
It's like driving a car. You want the dashboard to be clear, controls easy to find, intuitive.
Good analogy. So you can focus on the driving, or in our case, the music making. Keep that creative flow going.
Exactly. That flow is everything. So what makes a library actually user-friendly?
Good question. What should people look for?
Well, it's really about how fast you can get from having an idea in your head to hearing the sound you want in your track.
Minimal friction.
Minimal friction. Take Spitfire ABS again. Part of why it's so popular is that the interface is super simple. Minimalist. Easy to find sounds. Tweak the basic controls.
No steep learning curve.
Right. Then you have something like Contact. It's incredibly deep, loads of options.
Can seem intimidating at first glance.
It can, but Native Instruments has actually done a pretty good job organizing it. And there's a massive amount of tutorials and community support online.
So even complex tools can be user-friendly if they're well-designed and supported.
Definitely. So how do you figure this out before you buy?
Watch videos.
Yes. Watch demo videos, tutorials, see how people actually work with it. Read user reviews on forums. People are usually very honest about usability issues.
Get the real-world perspective.
And if there's a trial version, download it. There's just no substitute for trying it yourself in your own setup.
Click around, see if it makes sense to you.
Exactly. See if it clicks.
Okay, makes total sense. So we've got great sounds, affordable price, easy to use. We're golding. Yeah.
Almost. There's one more big technical hurdle.
Oh. What now?
What if your computer just can't handle it?
Compatibility. System requirements.
Yeah.
The unsexy but critical part.
Totally. Because these libraries, especially the detailed ones, can be seriously demanding on your system. A great library is useless if it just crashes your DAW or makes everything grind to a halt.
Right. Nothing kills creativity faster than constant spinning beach balls or error messages.
So true. First off, check compatibility with your digital audio workstation.
Like Ableton Live, Logic Pro, FL Studio, Pro Tools.
Exactly. Most libraries list which DWs they officially support or work best with. Contact libraries, for example, usually work fine in most major DWs, but always double check.
And Mac versus Windows too, right?
Yep. Some libraries might only work on one platform, or sometimes performance can differ. Like East-West Play libraries work on both, but you might want to read user experiences for your specific OS.
Okay, so check the DAW in the OS. What else?
The big one, resource intensity. How much horsepower does this thing actually need?
RAM, CPU.
Both. Sample libraries load, samples into your computer's RAM to play them quickly. Complex libraries with lots of detail need a lot of RAM.
Like those big orchestral ones.
For sure. Spitfire's BBC Symphony Orchestra, for instance, they say 8 gigabytes of RAM minimum, but honestly, they recommend 16 gigabyte for smooth sailing.
Wow. Okay, so you really need to know your computer specs.
Absolutely. And CPU power matters too for processing effects and playing multiple sounds at once, and storage.
Need space to install them, obviously.
Yeah, and ideally you want them installed on a solid-state drive, an SSD.
Why an SSD?
Load times. Samples load so much faster from an SSD compared to an old spinning hard drive. It makes a huge difference in workflow, less waiting around.
Less frustration.
Way less frustration. So the crucial tip here is simple. Before you hit buy, check your computer's specs, RAM, CPU, disk space, OS against the library's minimum and recommended requirements.
Oh, just hope it'll work.
Please don't. If your system is borderline, you might need to factor in a hardware upgrade, like adding more RAM or getting an SSD. It's an investment in actually being able to use the tools you buy.
An investment in your sanity, maybe?
Haha, definitely that too. Avoid the lag, avoid the crashes.
All right. So assuming our computer can run it, we get to the final piece of the puzzle.
Yep. Making the sounds your own. Customization and expansion options.
So not just using the presets, but really shaping the sound.
Yeah.
And keeping things fresh.
Exactly. This is where you move beyond just triggering sounds and start really designing your sound.
How does that work? Aren't samples just recordings?
Well, yes, but good libraries give you tools to tweak those recordings. Think about libraries from Spitfire or Native Instruments again. They don't just give you the raw sound.
They give you controls.
Right. In Contact, for example, you can often adjust pitch, tempo, add effects, filters.
Okay.
And
Right.
crucially, you can usually tweak the ADSR envelope.
ADSR.
Mhm.
Attack, decay, sustain, release.
You got it. Those 4 parameters control the shape of the sound over time.
Like how quickly it starts, how long it lasts.
Exactly. Attack is the start, decay is the drop after the initial hit, sustain is the level it holds at, and release is how long it takes to fade out after you let go of the key.
So messing with those can change the character a lot.
Massively. You can take a sharp, plucky sound and give it a slow attack and long release to turn it into a soft, evolving pad. It's fundamental sound shaping. So experiment with ADSR.
Cool tip. Makes the sounds way more versatile.
Totally. But then there's the other part, keeping your toolbox from getting stale.
Right. Expansion options.
Yeah. How do you make sure your sounds keep evolving with your music? You don't want to get stuck in a creative rut using the same few things over and over.
So look for libraries that grow.
Ideally, yeah. Many libraries offer expansion packs, extra sounds, new presets, different styles that integrate right into the library you already have.
Like add-on packs.
Kinda. Outputs Exhale, which is a vocal engine, is a good example. They release expansion packs with new vocal phrases and textures you can load right in. Keeps it fresh.
So you're not buying a whole new instrument, just adding to what you've got.
Exactly. It's often more cost-effective and keeps your workflow consistent. So keep an eye on what the developers release after the initial product.
And how does this play out in like a real project?
Okay, imagine you're scoring a film scene, right? Maybe using East West Composer Cloud. You find a great string sound, but you need it to be a bit more tense for one part than more flowing later.
Okay.
Using the built-in customization, maybe tweaking the ADSR, adding some effects, and maybe loading sounds from an expansion pack designed for suspenseful textures, you can tailor that orchestral sound perfectly to match the mood and dynamics of the scene.
So it's not just static sounds, it's adaptable.
That's the goal. Adaptable, customizable, and expandable. It ensures your investment keeps paying off creatively down the line.
So what this really means for you, the listener, is that picking the right library isn't just a one-time purchase. It can be the start of building this evolving sonic toolkit.
Absolutely. It grows with you. Opens up creative pathways you didn't even know were there.
It's about finding tools that spark creativity, not just fill up hard drive space.
Wow. Well said.
Sure. Okay, that was quite the deep dive. It's so clear, though, sample libraries are just massive game changers for home recording.
No question. They really level the playing field in so many ways.
They give you access to sounds that used to require huge studios and budgets right in your own space.
Incredible quality sounds.
Yeah. Whether you want to make like sweeping cinematic scores like you mentioned, or chart-ready pop, or gritty hip-hop beats.
The tools are there. You can craft almost anything.
And they speed things up so much without sacrificing quality if you choose well. Thinking back to Rodrigo's article, things like Abbey Road 1 for that classic orchestral sound, or the Spitfire stuff. Amazing resources.
Definitely. And ultimately, picking the right libraries for you. It doesn't just make your tracks sound better. It makes your whole workflow smoother, more efficient.
Less time fighting tech, more time creating.
Exactly. It really can be the difference sometimes between a track that's just good and one that really connects, maybe even becomes a hit, it bridges that gap between the idea in your head and what comes out the speakers.
Powerful stuff.
Which kind of leads to the big question for everyone listening. How are you going to use these tools? How will you leverage them to bring your own unique musical ideas to life?
Ooh, good question. So here's the challenge we want to leave you with. Dive in.
Yeah, experiment.
Don't just take our word for it based on this chat or Rodrigo's article. Go listen to demos. Try out LabES. Explore different sounds, different textures.
Find what resonates with you.
See how these sounds can actually transform your music. Because honestly,
Yeah.
your next masterpiece, it might just be waiting inside a sample library you haven't discovered yet.
Could be.
So plug in those headphones, load up some samples, and just unleash your creativity. Go make something awesome.